YouTube. All right.
All right.
So what's up, family? It's your boy, Coach Crump. Super excited to come on with you guys tonight as we have another special live for the Boy Man King podcast with my main man, Chizzy.
Yeah.
What's up,
What's
family?
going on? I feel like I just saw you like a couple days ago, man. Is that
Yeah,
true?
it wasn't long. It wasn't long. And we also have a celebrity. We have a celebrity, ladies and gentlemen.
Celebrity.
You know what I
Celebrity,
mean?
man.
A
Oh,
Grady
man.
baby. You know what I
Sure.
mean? The one and
All day.
only
All day.
Mr. Chef Beasley, man. Thank you for joining us again on
My
the
brother, my
platform, brother.
brother.
Appreciate you. How you doing?
As always, brother, I'm doing great, man. I can't complain. Beautiful day outside, and just it's a great day all around.
Yeah,
I'm
man.
happy.
I see you with the slight stunt ministry with the
Oh
sunroof.
yeah,
You know
my
what I
bad.
mean? Your barber was on point. You know what I'm
You
saying? You
know,
got that Sunday glow to you.
you
You know what I'm
feel me? I had to
saying?
get
Like
right.
your wife,
Get
like she
right.
gave you some loving this morning. Like you looking all the way free right now, my guy.
Man, this
You know what I
morning,
mean?
last night, all the above. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir. Yes,
All
sir.
the
Yeah.
above. But I'm great to be here with you, brothers. As always, it's a pleasure. You know what I'm saying? Just looking forward to a good time. You know.
Yeah, man. So again, man, thank you for your podcast, man. Listen, you guys don't want to miss Chef Beasley's episode is dropping tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
He's dropping some
Yes.
heavy stuff, some real stuff
Yes.
that all men
Yes.
deal with, and he's just sharing his
Yeah.
own special way, man. We're gonna get into that, but before we do, I kind of want to start, man. I got a chance to speak Chizzy yesterday at a business expo, right? And
Okay.
influencers there. And Chef Bees, you know how it is in Atlanta, man. There's always these spots where you can pull up at events where you're going to meet people, significant people, influential people, successful people. And
Yeah.
so, man, I got on stage and did my thing, and it led to some followers. Some people want me to be on radio. Some people want me to talk. I didn't talk about no business because I was like, and I'm in the last keynote, so I'm
Okay.
kind of like watching the panel, I'm watching the speakers, and I'm looking for the gap. I'm looking for the thing that they're not talking about.
Yeah.
And whether it be being a celebrity chef, whether it be a counselor and a coach, whether it be a trainer, at the end of the day, if you don't deal with you, none of this stuff matters,
Yeah.
right? None of this stuff matters, Chef B. So we talked about some of your story. I want you and Chizzy to kind of talk about this, where you get the degree, right? You get the own business, right? You still, if you don't deal with you, your stuff will still show up, even with your degree, even with your new job, even with your own business, and it can potentially ruin and sabotage
That's true. That's
everything you
true.
quote unquote work for because the
Yeah.
main thing wasn't the main thing that you start dealing with you. What I love about both of you, and I love for you to share about this, you've recently in the past couple of years really focused on dealing with yourself.
Yeah.
Talk about from a man's perspective. We talk about getting the bag and getting in a relationship. Don't forget that the main thing is dealing with you and your stuff, whatever that is. You guys talk about that as you both kind of navigated these past 2 years of, yes, I got closer to God. Yes, I got a business. Yes, but one of my biggest accomplishments, I'm finally dealing with myself.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
I'll let Chef go first, man.
Oh,
Go
you go.
ahead.
Okay.
Yeah. Go
I
ahead. Go ahead. I'll
appreciate it.
defer to you
But
for now.
now, yeah, just like you were saying, you accomplish these things and you're still feeling empty. You know what I
Mm,
mean? When I made my first $100,000, I thought I was gonna feel like I was, doing something, but I still felt empty. I still felt I was running from something.
mm,
Um, as much success that I was getting, meeting all these people, traveling all over, I was still literally just empty on the inside. I wasn't happy. The
mm.
things that I thought was going to bring me happiness, it didn't. You know what I mean? And just to make that type of money, be able to buy my wife a new house, this a car I'm in right now, buy a new
Sure.
house, and you still feel empty. And
So,
so
so, so for
when
so for context for the brothers in the back who may not understand, because context matters. At this point, you're talking about making six figures. You're married, you got children, you got a
Mhm.
new car, a new house, and you're making multiple six figures, and you
Mhm.
still are like, I'm empty.
Yeah. You just feel empty because you know it's something missing. You know what I mean? It's something that you want to address, but when you, like I was telling you in the interview, wearing that mask for so long,
Come
you're
on.
afraid to address. You're afraid to address what's going on with you. You're worried about who's going to judge you. You know, you're worried about is people really going to take you seriously. And I dealt with that for so long, and I just
Mm.
tried to mask so much. But once all those things start coming, it's like that mask can no longer stay because it's something that you do want to address, but you're still leading with fear. You're still leading with doubt. You're still leading with what people want to think about you. And
Wow.
for me, when it got to that point where it was like, I don't even care anymore. I gotta fix me.
Yeah.
This right now because the things that I'm accomplishing right now, being an example to my kids, my wife, but I'm still struggling and not want to address my issues. And I was like, you know what? I can't keep doing it. I can't keep
Mm.
doing it. I think my breakthrough was I was in San Francisco um, last year, and we had a marriage counseling session. And then I overslept and show up with it. And then my wife, she just really came at me. She was just like, if you don't get your stuff together, I'm leaving with my kids. And that
Mm.
was like, that was it. I said, I can't keep running from myself. I came home, got into therapy, psychiatrist, all of that stuff. And I said, I'm just tired of running from myself because ultimately it's just gonna wear me down to where I can't continue to grow in my career. I can't continue to grow as a man, a father, and a husband. So at the point you just like, hey, it's I gotta get together. And so that was my breaking point when my wife told me that. And she said it in a way that she was so silent, the silent way she said it, that hit me even more. Because I would have rather her yell at me. But the
Mm.
way she said it in such that silent tone, I felt that. I felt it. And I said, hey, I gotta fix it. I gotta fix it, and that was the point of me doing so. So yeah, it was hard, but I'm glad I started that process. And like I said, I got great examples in front of me. So it was just all about me just, going at it and just saying, hey, you got to man up and fix this.
Yeah, and I love. First, I want to acknowledge before Chizzy chimes in. Just want to
Mm.
acknowledge the work of you because your wife can say that, right, Chizzy? But like, you still want to go see a counselor and a psychiatrist. So it's
Yeah.
like you still got to make the conscious decision to go work on yourself in a real way, not like, oh baby, let's pray about it. Oh no, baby, I got you. But you like, you know
Mhm.
what? Let me go get a counselor and a psychiatrist. Let me like invest some money into my brain, into my psychosis, into how I operate, how I process. Like I'm going to really understand like why I'm showing up like that. Chizzy, I know you got a similar story, man, just about, hey man, you've given back to the community. A lot of people don't know this, man. You've been helping the underprivileged, helping the youth, helping kids in sport. Like you've been in the trenches on the front lines for over 20 years. And as you get your wife and children, as you build your company, as you're trying to do your nonprofit, you had to come to the realization like, listen, man, this still doesn't change the fact that I still got to deal some stuff with me. Talk about just coming to a point as a man, like Chef Beasley's point was last year. What was your point when you was like, I'm done, like faking the funk of keep putting on or whatever. I'm going to deal with my stuff uncompromising.
I think everybody has the aha moments. I think for me, and sometimes you want to get to that space, when you're unmarried. When I say when you're unmarried, meaning like you don't want to be in crisis when it happens, and that would be the ideal. But I don't think I had that experience. I think for me, my moment was when I saw myself step outside of myself and lose control in front of my kids. When I was taking my son to uni a couple years back, that was my moment where I was like, man, I can't continue to be this way. It's one thing to kind of, have issues with your significant other or your
Issues with
spouse,
your significant other.
and and it's isolated to just you and her. But when it comes to the point where the people who you expect to revere you see you in a particular way, see you step outside your character. For me, that was like my trench moment where I was like, man, I can't continue to just be this guy and struggle with my anger. And I'm still trying to explore where that anger comes from, whether it's from a space of me needing to feel like you see my efforts, as you spoke, be like, I've been doing this work with kids for a long time and it's thankless. And sometimes it's this thing called transference where you're taking on so much of other people's energy and you're in the trenches so much dealing with people and trying to support other people that sometimes you don't take the time out to recognize how that energy is being consumed by yourself and how that translates into how you interact and how you're put into certain situations. So for me, that moment, right, I actually had an outer body experience. And I talked about this with the prayer line when I first opened up about it on the prayer line, like I saw myself and it was almost in slow motion where I saw myself and I'm like, I didn't even recognize myself. Like, who is that guy acting this particular way in front of his children, to my ex-wife at the time? And of course, we had our own struggles. I'm like, I can't no longer be like, okay, it's on her, or she's making me do this. I got to take accountability for me. And that would really bore me to my knees, thankfully, because sometimes that's what it takes, really, as I was saying before. So we want to hope that men have the opportunity to really just be able to have this introspective look without crisis, without getting to a extremely low point in their lives. But whatever it takes, as we know, however God brings you to your knees is how it's going to work. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it was an eye-opening experience to really, really say, I mean, I can't no longer play the victim and act like it's somebody else's responsibility. And that kind of forced me in a space similar to you, Chef, where you got to put the work in. You got to put the work in, and you can only control you. And it's been an amazing opportunity. And as we know, as we talk about, the journey continues. It's not like you just wake up one day and you go through a counseling process, or you start to do devotional, you start to work on yourself, where you just arrive at a point where you no longer have to continue to do that. That's not how it works. This is an everyday choice that I make, that I'm sure you make, to really, really center ourselves in a way so that when we show up, we're able to really, really push through those challenging moments in a healthy, in a proactive way, as opposed to letting our emotions and the person we were surface, and then all the work that we endeavor to do gets undone because we're not continuously assessing, we're not continuously trying to just chip away at those things that we need to resolve, man. So it's difficult at times. I can tell you, it's very difficult at times because we're men and we still have a desire to earn. We have a desire to be seen, to be loved, to be appreciated by our loved ones. You know what I'm saying? But the good thing now is that you have a measurement and you have a gauge, and your validation is no longer sought through external variables. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So that's what's
where I
enriching for
wanted
me.
to go. And that's why I wanted to go with Dr. Darius. I went to church with my family, and I'm about to take on the Made Men cohort, which is like a 12-week program that we do where we help men understand who they are, and like 500 men, right?
Yeah.
And he asked me to coach a particular group starting like in a couple of weeks. And one of the things for him, he's been doing it for 18 years and 1,000 men. He said the number one feedback from men, the number one, a lot of feedback on like what's they dealing with and what their challenges are. But the number one thing was unappreciation in significant relationship.
Yeah.
Right. That was like the number one thing, Chef Beasley. And what people don't realize, you get the degree, you get the money, you're doing this thankless work as a man of take care, priest, provider, protector, only to feel unfulfilled, only to feel unappreciated, only to feel not seen or not heard in a real way to your humanity, where you don't have to posture, you don't have to present, you don't have to perform. You can just be present. And that's more than enough for somebody to love you, to celebrate you, to embrace you. But in my studies of the men that I've helped, the 1,000 that I've coached, what I've learned too is that we have an unhealthy and an unrealistic expectation on our significant other to bear that responsibility of appreciating us. And I told people it's in thirds. And Mitch Chisholm, we know we talk about this all the time. It's initiated men. You need to be around initiated men. They'll validate you. They'll affirm you. They'll coach you. They'll hold you accountable, but they'll appreciate. I see you, Chef Beasley. I don't care nothing about you being a chef and celebrity and traveling. Cool. How you doing, bro? How your heart doing? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You like, man, thanks for asking, bro. Thanks for reaching out. Thanks for even thinking about me. Right? That's one. Then you got to have some time with God. God sees you. He knows all, he sees all, he can do all. But you got to talk to him. You got to initiate that. Now, all of these things, you got to kind of create a relationship dynamic with it. And then that third person, that third party, that third pie is that significant other where you got to have certain conversations. You know
Sure.
what I mean? And that's a skill set that has to be developed. So all of these things has to be initiated, has to be nurtured. But I want you guys to talk about from your space and for your vantage point, the challenge of getting there, right? Chili talked about the journey continues. As we're working on this, it's
Man.
still because these are still skills that you have to develop. Like, I got to have
Yeah.
these tough conversations with my significant other. I got to connect myself with men who are on the value system, not who I grew up with, not my day ones, but my day twos, on
Yeah.
who are in alignment to my needs now where I'm at as a man. And then really
Yeah.
spending time with God so that me and God could be in a good space too, so that he's filling my cup as well. God, can talk about that, guys.
Oh yeah.
Uh, mm,
I would say it for me it took a minute. Because how I was just like always just working, thinking I just got to make sure the family's taken care of, just making sure the money coming in the house. And I know I talk about my wife a lot, but I actually took her lead. You know, she she got to a point a few years back where she wanted to address her childhood trauma, but me, I
Mm,
wasn't really trying to go that route. But I saw what therapy did for her. I
okay.
saw like the change in her, um, her communication. Like she a Sagittarius woman, so she don't bite her tongue. She gonna talk. She gonna say how she feel, and so I wasn't used to that. So it took a while for me to really get in motion to be like, you know what? She's a very open woman. I have to be open with her too as well. And so just really seeing her do her thing and getting therapy and just really, take her childhood more serious. I was just like, okay, I gotta fall in place too because it's helping her, and I'm seeing the way she's communicating with me through the things that she's doing. So I was like, all right, well let me get into it as well too. So just really taking her lead and just understanding that I gotta let go of everything that came with that mask. You know what I mean?
mm,
Because for a period of time, I didn't trust the church. I didn't trust men. I didn't trust religion because a lot of that stuff that came from that mask came from my experiences from those things, dealing with
wow.
molestation, dealing with like the
Mm,
church hurt, dealing with like men who I thought were like men of God, but they turn around to be womanizers. You know what I mean? And so all of that was just hindering me from like really stepping into me understanding God more. You know what I mean? Starting
mm,
my own relationship because when you wearing that mask, you become a people pleaser. And I wanted to understand religion and God so much that I would just try to learn whatever I can, but it really wasn't resonating with me. You know what I mean? So I'm just like, I can't keep doing that. But once I acknowledge those things, and once I
mhm.
acknowledge that the fact that this is what keeping me back, I
Yeah.
was like, yeah, I got to go head on with this. I got to build my own relationship with God. I got to talk to God on how, I thought, I ain't gonna lie to you, I thought I had to like really learn the Bible to like really have that
Mm,
relationship with God. But I was just like, it got to the point where I just sat in the car and just had a conversation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
came as myself. And then a lot of those times I struggle as well with trying to find my own identity because I was telling my wife a lot of times, like, all I do is cook for people. Like, I used to say, I don't even think people know my first name. You know what I mean? Because, like, I was like, I really don't think people know my first name because I'm always just cooking for people when in actuality, I just want to have some friends. You know what I'm saying? Have some brothers to just talk to. You know what I mean? It ain't always
mm,
about just, of course I love to cook, I'm gonna feed people, but sometimes I just want to just kick back with the fellas.
Right.
yeah.
And that was something that I didn't have, and I struggle with that because I always just thought this is what I'm supposed to be doing, just cooking and coming home, taking care of the family. So I struggle with that identity as well. And so just me talking to God, how I want to talk to him and build my relationship based off of me, just getting out of my own shell. That's what's really been helping me to get through those struggles that I still have struggles to this day, but I'm more conscious about how I handle those struggles. You know what I mean? I'm more open about how I handle those struggles. Like I was telling you guys the other day, I had a day where I just mentally broke down. I cried, I got it all out, talked to God, and I was better. Back then, I probably would have went back to porn. You know what I mean? Went back to some drinks, stuff like that. But that growth is what's been helping me get to the place that I am right now.
I love it, man. Chizzy, kind of chime in on that, man. Just those spaces that we try to develop our skill to even manage and cope, like Chef Beasley was alluding to.
Yeah, I think the intentionality and what the person you're trying to be or endeavoring to be is important for you to protect yourself from yourself sometimes as well. You know, I personally have to really, really be intentional with, you know, my social media feed, with what I watch on television, who I interact with day to day. And it's almost like you get to a point where like if you ain't feeding me in the right way, I don't even really want to engage on a particular level. Like you said, like you have associates and people you're knowing from day one. But if we ain't caught by the same cloth and we're not talking, if you're not feeding me spiritually, you're not feeding me in the correct way. I kind of have learned to just distance myself from certain conversations and certain things. But that intentionality piece is important because, you know, I've had to really be more and more focused. I started a 365 devotional. Shout out to the ET family, UOU. I got the book. I started a few days ago on day 5. You know what I mean? So you have to really, really protect yourself from yourself and guard everything around you, your surroundings, so that you can just maximize yourself. And it's a necessary level of selfishness that men have to do, that we have to do, that is uncustomary to men in particular. Because like you said, Chef, like we get so caught up in providing and working and doing so much things for other people. And then when you wake up, you know, you're like, well, what about me? Like who's checking for me? Sort of thing, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And the associations of like-minded brothers is critical. You know, Chris and I talk about this a lot. Well, we talk about it a lot. Like it's important to just be able to have somebody on your calling list or somebody you talk to on a regular basis, just so that you have, you know, you can just have ways of being healthily expressing your frustrations, because it's going to come up on a daily basis. You know what I'm saying? Every day, especially if you're parenting, if you're juggling a business, if you're juggling, you know, family life and who you are in the community, like you need necessary time and essential time to just step back and be like, yo, talk to somebody and talk to a friend, go to counseling, do everything necessary to have that level of attention. It's almost like you got to get your reps in silence, so that when you leave the house, you know what I'm saying, you're able to just have things to bounce off of you, and you're not really, you know, looking for that validation. You're not looking for that dopamine high that we would normally get, whether it's through females or whether through porn or whether it's through gambling or drinking or being in certain environments. Like you have to find real healthy ways and just pouring into yourself. And then, you know, the people around you will get the residual benefits of that work that you're putting in, man. And I'm pretty sure you've seen it. I've seen it. Crump's seen it. You know, but it starts with you first and foremost. And sometimes your family members don't really understand it. Like friends be like, yo, how come you're kind of distant? Like, how come? I'm like, yo, man, I'm just gonna take time off for me. Like,
and I love that part. Like I want to kind of dive in more as a man, and as we share with other men. I know some of you guys, like for me, I had to cut off 3 chats that I was a part of, you know, over the past 10 years. Like one was very long, but it's like, man, like too many pictures, too many videos, too many things that I can't see as a married man who's trying to live right with God. Like you can't keep putting that in front of me. And like you guys have been talking about different things that you cut off as far as nightlife, as far as friends and family, as far as chats, as far as social media. But also I really want to highlight, as you're doing this work and be practical with men, like what's super intentional about investing in good men and showing up and coming to retreats, right? So like these are things that nobody taught us, right? But you're like, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
gonna make time to go to the cabin in Tennessee. I'm gonna make time to go to this men event. I'm gonna make time to go to this church service with Crump. Like, you still have to make sure, yes, I cut certain things off, but you're still human. So you
Sure.
need you. So I think a lot of people, they're like, oh, I'm just gonna stop doing that. Well, you got to replace it with
Yeah.
something because you got to do something. You got to get the dopamine from somewhere. You got to get the oxytocin from somewhere. You got to get your endorphins out. Like, you got to get the stimulus somewhere, and you got to be a responsible man to put that energy into healthy spaces, and you got to go find them. Talk about how you guys are intentionally. Yes, you're doing the work. Yes, you understand you got to keep showing up. Yes, you keep trying. But separate of trying, you guys are intentionally showing up in healthy spaces with other men. Talk about how that's part of who you are now compared to, hey, woe is me 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll go.
You go ahead.
I'll go
Go
if I
ahead,
may,
Chief.
Chef. Yeah. It's funny you said that because we went to the gym when I was in Atlanta. When I was up at, when I was visiting Crump when we guys there earlier, and he was like, yo, like, I see why you come here. Like, I can see it in your face. Like, that workout routine gets you into a space. You're taking that, all of that energy that you feel, and he'll see me on the basketball court. So he sees how much of a maniac I could be on the basketball court in a certain situation. It's like, yo, when I see you work out, I understand why you come here every day. I understand why you do this every day, because that's a healthy outlet for me to just really just throw it all on the weights. And everybody has their own thing that they do, you know what I'm saying, to balance their lives out. But to your point, Crump, it's the workouts, it's the devotions, it's the prayer lines, it's the desire and the yearning to talk to brothers who really can support me, who can hold me accountable. Like, it's weird how certain things just are not even attractive anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, going out, yeah, it's cool sometimes to be in an environment, but I'm like, man, that's gonna take me to a place that I really don't want to go. And I never really struggled with, with alcohol or being promiscuous in that way, in my mind anyway. But I did see times where I would use a female or a relationship to seek that validation. And now it's just like, oh man, if it ain't quality, if she ain't uplifting my spirit, because I represent for the single guys. You guys are married and you have families, but for me, the single life is real because our vices can be a lot greater because we don't have the natural inclination to have that person next to me that says, all right, this is my physical representation of a commitment, not just to myself, but to my family, to God. Like, we don't have that. So for me and the other single brothers, the intentionality I find could be, has to be a lot greater, because you can easily slip up into those ways. I can easily slip back and just start to say, let me see what females are available that could really just rub my head or make me feel nice. And you know what I'm saying? Next thing you know, I'm backtracking. Not to say that that's not I don't have a desire for that. Not to say that, it wouldn't be nice to really find, a spiritual woman, a woman who can help develop me, but it's got to go through God first, really and truly. That's really.
But I love the fact that you're acknowledging your humanity. Cause me and Chef Beasley, we had conversations separate from the pod about some stuff he's doing with his son, right? It's just important to understand you have natural things that you still need to get out, that you still need to do. And and you gotta accept your personality type. Like me and Chizzy are very aggressive, alpha, competitive, you know what I mean? A men. So like, I can't be in no mushy gushy cordial space all day, every day. That's going to drive me crazy. You're going to get a side effect, right? So when I saw like Chef Beasley, he was beating up the weights. He was like, like he was like really like going in, beating up the weights. I said, oh, because I was like, yo, because I know Chizzy personally for over 20, almost 20 years. So I was like, yo, like, I'm like, man, you've been really managing your anger very well. Now, we were joking. He'd be like, man, I got no anger problem. But when I rolled up on him at the gym, one of the things I saw he was doing was he was getting out that natural aggression, right?
Yeah.
Some guys, when your testosterone's high, like some people got natural aggression. he was getting it out in the weight room to be like, all right, boom, I got that release. So now I can, hey, what you need me to do? What you need me to do, right?
Yeah.
Chef Beasley has a huge heart to serve his community, right? To serve the next generation. So if somebody's saying, go to work, go to work, go to work, go to work, come home, come home, come home, come home, you're going to bust at the seams at some point because you're not really being who you really are so that you can keep showing up for everybody else, including yourself. So Chef Beasley, just talk about that, where you're being intentional, not to deny these needs that you have, but finding these healthy outlets to express them.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Because for me, it's a little crazy because I've become more open, and so when I'm having like moments, I'll be honest with you, I tell my wife like, it's just certain things about women that it just drives me crazy. You know what I mean? So I'm open and honest with her. Now, I don't have a desire to cheat, anything like that. It's just I just love a beautiful black woman. You know what I mean? Not in a sense to replace my wife or anything like that. And so I be having this conversation with her. I'm open with her about it, not seeking anything like that. But on the flip side, I've become more intentional about building with my children. Me and my son, we're starting a cooking series now. You know,
Right.
and so he's going to be like the executive producer of it. And so for me, replacing certain things, it just allows me to spend more time with my kids, and we can build our own thing.
Yeah.
Even when I do struggle sometimes with my sexual desires, I just talk to my wife. You know what I mean? I let her know, like, hey, this is what's going on with me. And she'll be like, hey, you just like women. You know what I mean? She'll just keep it real with me. And so for her to say those things lets me know it's okay for me to talk to her about these things and let her know that I'm still sometimes struggling with these things. And I let her know, like, hey, I'm not trying to go have sex with nobody else, anything like that. I'm just letting you know, like, what's going through my mind, what's how I'm feeling in this moment and stuff like that. So being able to express that to her, that's a plus on my end. And then on the flip side, being able to create something with my children that they're actually interested in. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That I know that's going to be something massive in their life that they can just go on and build off of as they get older. And so those things for me, it's a feel good moment because it allows me not to just always work, 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 come home, come home, come home. Now I get to work a little bit, come home, create some stuff with my kids. You know what I mean? We put that out in the world, and so it's a different dynamic for me because now I'm more present in learning me and learning my children and my wife as well, and we're just creating. You know what I mean? So that feeling right there, replace all of those old habits, all of those old feelings, desires I would have. Like I said, but even in those days where I struggle, I'm able to be open with my wife and talk to her. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
man.
So
Shout
yeah,
out to
You
your
make
wife, man. Shout out
yeah,
to your
yeah.
wife because
yeah,
like
man.
you have a personality type that's vulnerable, that's open, that's expressive. But every woman
Mhm.
can't handle that from a man, to be honest. Like, and you
Yeah.
make it a safe space and a non-judgment space. Because I know a lot of dudes struggle with being lesbians, right? But they
Mhm.
love women in general. Like, just
Right.
I'm just a naturally attracted to just beautiful women. Women, like, it's just something that's always present. I
Mhm.
know me and my wife had that conversation about. I just let her know, look. I'm like, when it comes to that like space, like needy, like, but I'm not gonna tell you or make announcements or just know.
Mhm.
Like when it comes to that, like I'm actually very needy. So, but I'm trying to handle my responsibility, do my job. And like you, Chef Beasley, something that keeps me preoccupied. Because I call it my kids are keeping me more preoccupied to not me overly consumed in the thing that gets
Mhm.
my attention.
Mhm.
Meeting my
Gotcha.
children's needs means something to me personally. So like
Yeah.
going through with my son, going through with my daughter, like that gets me going. I know Chizzy, you could definitely speak to this, but it's like, I think about my children every day. Like I think about a lot of stuff, but I do think about them and where they are and what they need every single day. And that gives me other purposes and other energies to put where I'm not so consumed about warring with my own members in whatever area I'm dealing with, particularly if I got idle time, right? So Chizzy, talk about that too, where yes, we can replace it for our personal need, but also feeling the need of purpose in others, particularly our children, to help us facilitate the bandwidth that we need.
I just want to point out an important point that both of you are speaking to, and this is for our, of course, we're here to discuss and talk about men's needs, but also for our women viewership, it's important to understand how vital it is for a man to feel comfortable in bringing to you and talking to you about the stuff that he's challenged with, and not feel judged or not be looked upon or not feel like we can be free to just express the things. Because ideally, when we're coming to you, and I have a little bit of experience in this category, when we're coming to you is mostly from the perspective of, I want your support around this stuff. And sometimes, people get in a space where they give their opinions on what you're saying, and it becomes an emotional tennis match between you're right and I'm wrong, and well, why are you telling me this? And a lot of times women make it about them, and they make it about, maybe they think that there's a deficit somewhere in the relationship. But a lot of times for us men, we just want to be able to have an open and a non-judgmental conversation with our partner, so we can gain understanding that if she knows that we are struggling in this area, and we're not judging, we're not pushing it on you, but I need your support. I don't need you to judge me. I don't need you to look at me crazy. I don't need you to think that I'm out here trying to cheat with someone else. I just need you to listen to me and be supportive. And, I know for me as a single guy, a lot of the challenges I had in past relationships was feeling like I can't really say certain things because I don't want them to look at me crazy, and I don't want to feel like, when I open up to you, you're going to judge me, and now I'm getting shut down, and now that's going to exacerbate a problem that I only wanted to come to you with so that we could navigate it together. You know what I mean? So I think that's an important point that both of you guys are making, that your wives, I'm not saying it happens all the time, and I would assume there are conversations with your wife that you have that sometimes it can go left, and we understand that that's the nature of relationships. You know what I mean?
But let me make a public announcement just to help everybody, including all of our women. Right. Men does not have monogamy attractions. You know what I'm saying? Right. Like, we are attracted to multiple women. Like, we are physically attracted to multiple women. You may find 1% of men. You may find 1% of men that's only attracted to one woman. Most men are attracted to multiple women. Now, our battles with that, our challenge with that is different from man to man, depending on personality and experience and past. But like in general, women just need to know, like, hey, bro, I can't be around certain things, or I cannot be neglected certain things. I can be exposed to certain things because I'm naturally attracted to women. So like, and
that's okay.
And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But I'm coming to you because I want to honor our relationship. I want to honor my commitment to you, and I want your support. So I just want to put that out as just a public statement. You know what I mean? Brothers, can y'all back me up? I mean, Chef Beasley, this is where you can kick back in. I know you about to make some more grits, but it's just something that women just need to know. That has nothing to do with the woman that you with too. Like, I'm saying that has nothing to do with your wife, your significant other, somebody you're courting. Like, no matter how much they dress up, no matter how much sex they give you, you're not going to stop being attracted to other women. But what you're saying is, hey, your neglect, or you're ignoring, or you're complaining, or you're nagging, or you're just not seeing me, is the attraction is getting stronger from others because that's not there for me, right? So like being able to create a space, as Chizzy's saying, where we could just understand that's the dichotomy I'm just kind of like dodging through as your support. I'm trying to let you know, hey, I'm struggling because I'm trying to do the right thing. I'm getting exposed to certain things, and I need certain things. And I'm having this conversation with you. Go ahead, Chizzy.
Yeah, and there's healthy dialogues are important. Like if I reflect on even my experiences, right, the man I am today would have probably navigated situations a lot different. In my past relationship, with my ex-wife, but everything happens for a reason. I also believe that God doesn't remove anything from you that you're not meant to have. And I also believe that when He replaces it, He's going to replace it with something, better. So I kind of hold true to that. I'm just happy that now, as a man, as a grown man, I consider myself a grown man, even in this stage of my life. You know what I mean?
Bro,
Where
yeah.
I think I'm in a better position to receive what's for me, as well as know that it's not just about my needs as well. I would understand, I would believe that just like how we're attracted to women, and it's just a visual thing for us, women have the same struggle. And so in a relationship, it's a healthy dialogue to have, to say, hey man, this is what I need from you as my partner. And that's okay. And it shouldn't be looked at as, well, I'm not there yet,
Yeah,
or we got to create the environment. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like these
yeah, yeah.
physically, a man has thoughts about sex. I can't even tell you how many times in a day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Who better to have those experiences with than with your wife? And that's what we endeavor to do. I've been in situations where I've had conversations and I'm looked at like I'm crazy, like why are you telling me this? Like I'm saying, well, it's my responsibility to you as your partner, as your husband,
Mm,
to voice these things to you.
mm.
Because
Yeah.
if it's an issue for me, it's going to be an issue for you. And we should be able to share that dialogue and share that journey together so we both can grow from it. Because the last thing you want is for me to keep it in and keep it in and keep it in and keep it in. The next thing you know, that woman that I saw that was attractive yesterday, she's real attractive tomorrow. And she's even more attractive because I'm not getting what I need at home. You know what I mean? But these are real conversations that need to take place between husband and wife. And we're talking about husband and wife. Let's be clear. Husband and wife is what it is. The covering on
Yeah.
the God is important to have.
Right. Right.
Boyfriend and
Right.
girlfriend, that's a whole different beast. You know what I'm saying? We're talking about the sanctity of marriage. Certain things, certain conversations should have to happen, should take place for a healthy space. You know what I mean? And so for a single guy, it's encouraging to hear married men, my contemporary, saying, hey man, it takes work, but you can have
Yeah.
that. You know what I'm saying?
But to
Yeah.
Chef Beasley, I'm gonna throw it back to Chef Beasley. How did you and your wife create this type of space that you feel safe enough to share your absolute truths with her? Like what happened between y'all for you to be expressing stuff like your past trauma, your molestation, your attraction to other women, like, and her just receiving it, not like you need to go.
Oh
How
man.
are you telling me that? Like, the typical,
Yeah.
Western women response. It don't seem like you're getting that. So what have you guys come to and agreed to and arranged so that
Um.
you feel safe and she listens?
Yeah. I will honestly say a whole lot of trial and error, and a lot of error on my end.
Mm,
Um. Really, and us both growing up together. To be honest with you, I met her when I was when she was 19, and I was 24, and we had a child within the first month of knowing each other. And so, us growing up together, we've been married 3 years, but overall been together 12. And so, just us growing up together, a lot of my mess ups, a lot of just hard conversations to the point where I knew I could trust her with any secret. You know what I
mm,
mean? Any secret, because
Why though?
what she's shown, because what she showed me. You know what I mean? She showed me that you don't have to hide anything. You don't have to lie to me. You don't have to be ashamed of what you've been through, because I didn't want to tell anybody I was molested. You know what I mean? I wanted to just keep that to the grave. And so just being with her, it just really showed me that I could trust her. I could trust her with my secrets. I can trust her with me telling her everything without her judging me. And then on top of that, she shared her secrets with me too. You know what I mean? She shared her childhood trauma with me, and so for us
So
being able to
so
just
so
share.
but Chef Beasley, can you help us with this so that we're understanding you clearly? How when you share and she share and you share your secrets, are you saying that she never throws it back up in your face?
Oh yeah, never. She's never thrown it back in my face.
That comes from a
Never.
healthy space. That comes from a healthy space
Yes.
because a lot of
I,
times women essentially feel threatened by this because they make it a more of a reflection of my insecurity now gets projected onto you. And now for me to go in attack mode, it comes from a place of trying to that transactional pain-based responses that oftentimes
yeah.
people give. So I want to applaud you and your wife because that's not an easy thing to hear. I would imagine it's not an easy thing to hear for a female who loves her husband, who respects her husband, who wants her husband. Because make no mistake about it, our women want our women want us to only see and love them, and it requires a lot of maturity, a lot of centering, and a healthy space to be able to hear from your partner that I'm struggling in this area, that I have these thoughts, I have these feelings, and not be able to judge you. So so that comes back to the work that's necessary to get to that level of acceptance
Yeah.
where
Yeah,
it's non-judgmental.
and Chef Beasley, you mentioned the
Yep.
trial and error for you to get here. Are you aware of two things? One, can you kind of give us an example of the trial and error? And two, are you aware that your wife receiving your blunt truth, both from your past and your perspectives, and not judge you or throw it back in your face, you understand how rare that is in relationships, that that's not the norm?
Oh yeah. That's why to get a woman like that to understand everything I've been through, not throw it up in my face during arguments or disagreements. I always applaud and respect her for that, because that was something I really held dear to me that I always wanted to share, but was so afraid to share. And so, and it got to a point where she always tell me she just really felt so bad about my upbringing and the molestation and the family abuse. And so when I shared that with her, she really understood where I was coming from. And so, yeah, that's very rare, because you do hear a lot of men say they're afraid to share with women because later on they're gonna throw it in your face. Like I think I just saw an Instagram post where Shaq
But
was saying,
Shaq,
"Don't share no secrets, no with women, because
yeah,
you're gonna
what's
throw it
your
in your
thoughts
face."
on that?
I disagree. You know what I mean? Like you said, it takes a certain woman. You know what I'm saying? That maturity level. I can't say all women are like that, but my wife is definitely like that, and I always appreciate and respect her for that, because that's something, you know, as a man, you really don't want to tell nobody those things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was a tough conversation, because she actually kept it real with me. She was just like, when you told me, I was fearful because a lot of men who have been molested, they molest their children. You know what I
Mm.
mean? And so for her to say that, and I received, I was like, yeah, I get it, because I do hear a lot of men do that. I said, but that's not the case over here. I was just happy enough to be able to just share that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because that really wore me down. And so be able to share that with her and her to receive it and never throw it in my face, that's just like, you can
Wait,
have whatever
listen.
you want in the world.
Yeah, I
You can have
disagree
whatever
with
you
Shaq
want.
too, but I disagree with a star next to it, with an asterisk
Yeah.
next to it, because it depends on the woman too.
Yeah,
Like I
it
think every
does.
man, like Chizzy was saying earlier, every man ultimately wants an open and honest and transparent conversation and relationship, because it makes our intimacy so much stronger.
Yes.
But your experience with this person lets you know if that could be the case, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why we applaud you. But I want to go back to answer your question. We're gonna throw it back to Chizzy. What
Okay.
was the trial and error of like you saying it? You guys didn't start here. What was some things you said? And it was on my
Oh,
part. When you said that, what
mhm.
did you mean exactly?
Just like, you know how we talk about communication. We would have those conversations like, hey, just communicate to me. And then, I would hear what she's saying, you know what I mean? I would try, but I would still go back into my old habits of not doing it. So when I say a lot of trial and error, it took a lot of time for me to really understand, like, hey, if you just communicate with her, it'll be a lot easier versus it'll be times where we'll have a disagreement, get in an argument, and I wouldn't speak to her for about 4 or 5 days. We'll be in the same house, and I'll just be quiet. She'll be like, "What's wrong?" Nothing. You know what I mean? I was that type of guy. So that when I say that trial and error, it took for me to get out of that to receive what I'm getting right now. Because like I said, I was an open person. You know, I thought my role was simply just to provide and make sure my family taken care of, they protected. So when it came to communicating and came to being open, I wasn't giving her that at the beginning. It took, like I said, it took a lot of trial and error. It took a lot. It took a lot for her to really bring it out of me, for me to actually do it. Because we laugh about it now. I was like, wow, I really was like not talking to you for like 4 or 5 days. Like it's crazy once I really think about it that we're living together in the same bed, and I don't even want to talk to you. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I
And
mean,
so
and the reality,
it took a lot.
reality, a lot of relationships experience that, man. Unfortunately, that's actually very normal, to be honest with you, with the coaching that I've done. Chizzy, I want to go back to you because you mentioned something that I think we don't talk about enough. You said because of who I am now, because of what I've learned now, if I would be in the same situations with my wife and my other significant other, I know for a fact things will play out differently. Can
Yeah.
you give us an example?
Well, I mean, it's just the emotional reactions to. So when I was listening to Chef Beasley, he was saying there were some conversations that he had with his wife that, through trial and error, they had to learn to navigate, how to even be received, how to talk about it, and really, really create a safe space to really be open and honest about the stuff that they struggle with. Um, Bringing it back home to me, I just know that I can, or we like to lay the blame. It's easy to blame someone else for things, and even though, as we talk about all the time, it's not my fault, but it's my responsibility. I think from a leadership perspective,
Come on.
the person that I am now and how I even view human interaction, even with my ex-wife now, I probably definitely would have been able to really, really, really just step back and not let the emotions of a reaction from a need that's not being met on my behalf allow me to take a reaction that I'm seeing physically and turn that into a justification for a negative behavior on my end in terms of either separating myself or going through a divorce or even be reactionary to the stuff that you're saying. Because now my frame of reference is clearly I can have a feeling about something and feel like this is something I should express to my significant other. And her reaction should not sway anything in terms of how I view the outcome that I'm trying to gain. And so now, as a mature thinking person, I would like to believe I am anyway, in this particular stage of my life, it's not a tit for tat. I say this, I felt a particular way, she reacts, and now I react again. No, I would definitely approach it differently. Now my response is, all right, how can we get to the best outcome? I understand that you have feelings. I understand that your feelings are real to you, but how do we navigate this and learn from it to the degree that the next time it comes up, because it may come up again, we look at it in a way that's proactive as opposed to reactive. You know what I mean? I just think it comes down to your level of maturity and having had some experiences and having, had other people that I know, not just in this circle, but the prayer line and other brothers that I talk with, they could give you some perspective and hold you accountable. Say, bro, like how you acted is not, it's not gonna get you where you need to go. Not only are you responsible for giving direction to your family, you're also responsible in protecting their hearts and protecting every part of them. And once you actually tap into, your relationship with Christ, that helps to guide all of the reactions. That helps to guide all of the perspectives because you ultimately know that your calling is greater. It's not just about your needs. You know what
I
I mean?
love it.
So,
I love it, man. Thank you so much, Chizzy. Chef Beasley, man, as we wrap up, first, let the people know where they can know more information about you, man, what you got going on, and then your final thoughts.
Oh yeah, most definitely. You can always follow me at I am Chef Beasley, on all platforms, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Don't have Twitter, none of that stuff like that. But yeah, working on some new stuff. Like I mentioned earlier, me and my son, we're working on a new food TV series. That's called In
Awesome.
the Kitchen with Dad. So we're working on that.
I
I
like that.
officially gave him the title of executive producer. So that's
Love it.
his title for the show and everything. And just really locking in on that, locking in on just putting out just good, manly, fatherly, husbandly energy. You know what I mean? We see a lot of this gender stuff going on social media.
Man,
And so I just told myself I'd rather just be an example of what a good dad and a good man and a good husband can be, and just hoping to inspire other men my age, even younger, coming up, and just put some good content out there, just to show us dads having fun with our kids. You know what I mean? Because I think that energy will just help us become better men, become better husbands. You know what I mean? What we putting out. So yeah, look, definitely stay tuned for that. And just overall, I tell anybody, like I tell myself every day, just be patient with yourself. A lot of
Sure.
the stuff we're healing from, a lot of the stuff that we're dealing with, it is years of things that has piled up. And so, whatever season you're in right now, just be patient with yourself because you got a lot of unpacking to do. You know what I
yeah.
mean? This stuff ain't in a little duffel bag. You got about what was that, Coming to America when we had all them suitcases? That's
Trunks
about
trunks
as
and
much
stuff.
stuff as I got right there. Oh, that's
Right.
all,
Yeah.
everything.
That's
So
a
just
great
take your
analogy,
time.
by the way.
Yeah.
Yes. Just
Yeah.
take your time and just be patient with yourself. Know that change will come, and just don't get too distracted. It's gonna be difficult, but just be patient with yourself. Understand that things happen. Forgive yourself, and just love on yourself. Like Chizzy said, you got to be selfish with yourself sometimes. So
Right.
definitely patience and just love on yourself.
I love it, man. Thank
Love
you
it.
so much, Chef Beasley. Chizzy, let the people know
Always,
how
my
they can
brother.
get in contact with you, man, and give us your final thoughts.
Yeah, man. I'm on Instagram, Chizzy BDA. You can catch me. You can catch On the Coach as well. Chizzy, I drop videos every other day. Just encourage your brothers, man. Look forward. Look for some merch coming out because part of what we're doing now is creating a culture around really, really digging into vulnerability. We're gonna reshape this vulnerability, boys, so that we understand that a real man can recognize his flaws, but a better man can really look to address his flaws as well in a healthy way. You know what I mean? So that's kind of what I'm endeavoring to do with On the Couch, just create a platform for people to just be supported 150%, man, because we need it. Because we're asked to do so much. So we
Come
gotta,
on.
like you said, take a necessary level of selfishness to do that. So yeah, check me on Instagram, check me on TikTok as well. Um, it's gonna go. Boy, man, King, me and Crump's gonna continue to do our thing, man. And final words is like Chef Busy said, man, love on yourself. Take a necessary level of selfishness because you will thank yourself, and the people that are around you will thank you. Will thank you as well when they get the benefits of what it looks like to really, 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 really address some of those challenges we had as a child.
Yeah.
Man, I love it, man. Thank you guys so much for tapping in, man. Please subscribe and follow the Boy Man King podcast.
Sir.
Also, tap in with us on IG, Boy Man King Talk, and the King Conference is back, y'all. April 20th,
Uh-oh.
an all-day event. Man, it's for men, it's for women to really understand and connect to men and their needs. Like
Sure.
this, women, you're in the room, but it's about you learning what men are going through. So this is for men, by men, to build and develop and grow men, but we're inviting the women to learn. We want you to sit at the table, sit at our feet, and get the game you need to have a better connection and a better and all that get understanding with the men. And we're going to have a chance for you to connect in conversation with men in real time in the building. It's going to be a phenomenal experience, man. The link is in the description. Check us out on our bios to register tickets. It is limited seats. We only have limited seats. We will
Come
have
early.
it will be sold out So you want to tap in, man. We're looking forward to seeing you guys live in the building. And me and Chizzy, we'll be having a live episode of the Boy Man King podcast. We also will have our own segment. You don't want to miss this event, man. Literally, check out the testimonials. It is life-changing, man. But I want to say to the team, King Noel, also DeAndre, what it do, and also my man Kai the Guy, and all of our team, man. Thank you guys for continuing to build this platform. We're almost at 1,000 subs. We just can't believe it, man. We just want to show love and give game on what men are dealing with, and also encourage men that none of us arrive. We always evolve. And you guys know what it is. The journey continues. Y'all be blessed, man. Thank you so much, Chef Beasley. We appreciate you, man.
Appreciate y'all, brother. Love y'all, brother.
All right, Chef. Bless up, right?